Today on Tech Tuesday, I want to talk about something that's very important as far as the stitching goes with our machines, and that is this little thing right here, the needle. The needle that we put in our nolting machine depends on whether we have an L-hook, like we have in this fun quilter, or whether we have the larger capacity M bobbin, like I have in this NV right here. And I also have the larger capacity bobbin in the Pro machine here in my studio. So if you look at the bobbins and you compare them, you can see that the M bobbin on the left side is much bigger, holds about twice as much thread as the L bobbin. But it also takes a different needle in the M hook machine as opposed to the L hook machine right here. So if we look at the two needle cases right here, the Grosbeckert needles that we use, the M machine, the large capacity, takes a needle that says 134 MR on it, and the numbers are a little bit different. We find that there's a metric number right here, 4.5. That's a 120/19 needle, but we usually go by the metric, the 4.5, so we say it's an MR 4.5 needle. The L-hook machine has just a 134 needle. There's no other designation with it, and when we look at the numbers on this, we usually go by this right here, 125, and we call it a size 20 needle. So it's a 125/20, size 20, while this one is a 120 size 19, or we call it a 4.5, the MR needle. So there is a difference between these two needles. They're similar and they're both 134s, but they're designed a little bit different. And I put these together on a piece of paper here. The MR needle is at the top, a 134 MR, and if you look at it side by side with the 134 that we put in the L, the M needle, the MR needle at the top, you'll notice that it kind of bumps out a little bit at the top. So if I can point to it right here, if you can see that little bump out on the needle is just opposite where the scarf, the indentation, is on the back of the needle. So this is the front of the needle up here. There's a bump out on the front of the needle. The standard needle that we put in the L hook is just a straight shaft. The scarf goes in on the back side of the needle, but there is no bump out on the front. It's just simply straight down the front side where the groove is on the needle. So it's important that you use the correct needle in your machine, whether you have an L hook, you're going to use this 134 needle, size 20 is what it is timed with at the factory. And if you have the M hook, it's going to be a 134 MR 4.5 needle. This is the needle that they time the machine with at the factory. These needles are sturdy, and there's a reason that they time them with these needles, is because you get a little bit less needle flex with them as you're stitching. Now, let's talk about this a little bit farther as we talk about changing the needle. When you change your needle, you're going to undo the screw right here that holds the needle in. It should be tightened with a screwdriver, so you should not be able to loosen this screw with your fingers, and the needle will come out. When you replace that needle with a brand new needle, you want to make sure that you have the correct needle, first of all. For this MR machine, I can take a look at this needle and I can see that bump out on the groove side of the needle. And I want to make sure when I replace that needle that that bump out section and the groove that's in that needle right here will face dead center to the front. I know there's a lot of conversation about turning a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. Don't do that. If you have to do that, then something is not right with the timing in your machine. You must have the needle dead center straight out so that the hole that you put the thread through faces exactly to the front. Now when you replace the needle, especially if you've broken a needle, it's very important that you take a look in the sight hole, which is right above the needle. All right, here we have our needle, and you go right on up the shaft above the thread guide, and there's a little hole right there. That hole is on both sides of the needle shaft, and when the needle is out of the machine, you should be able to see right through that hole, right out the other side. And when you put the new needle in, you want to make sure that it's pushed up so that that hole is covered up, and all you see is the top of the needle shaft way up into that hole. Once you get it all the way up there, you want to make sure that the groove is to the front of the machine, because the thread rides in that groove. And it has to ride in that groove to go securely underneath the quilt sandwich to make the loop as it's forming the stitch. So that groove is important, and if you go down too many sizes in needles, you'll find that your thread is not being carried adequately to the bottom of the quilt to form the stitch. So once your needle is in the machine, you're holding it up in there, then you can come around, hold the needle with one hand. I'm holding the camera with the other hand. Tighten this finger tight, but then make sure that your needle is aligned so that the eye is facing directly to the front. And the groove, you can put your fingernail right in that groove, right on the front. You know it's there. And then once you finger tight it, then you're going to take the screwdriver and put it in there and tighten it carefully with a screwdriver. And the used needle, you want to be careful that you dispose of that in a great way, a good way, so that it doesn't harm somebody. I took an old prescription bottle, put a hole in the cap, and all I need to do is just drop it in to there. And you can see I've got a lot of pins and needles in there from quite a long time. And when I dispose of it, I will dispose of them right in here so that some person that's collecting my trash doesn't inadvertently get hurt with a broken needle or pin. So that's it for Tech Tuesday today. Just remember to use the correct needles, and if you order your needles from me or from Nolting, make sure that you order the correct needle. If you call in to order it, make sure that you tell whoever you're talking to whether you have an L machine or an M machine, because it does make a difference. And you don't ever want to use an MR needle in your L-hook machine, because it can cause damage to the hook. So make sure you use the correct needle. So that's it for Tech Tuesday today. Happy quilting until next week.